Good morning, everyone. I wholeheartedly welcome you all in another new episode of interview series of Meet My Gems of a YouTube channel organized by our own respected sir, Dr. Prem Kumar Agarwal, sir. Actually, he needs no introduction but to fathom his ongoing contribution in the field of legal academia. I will mention some of his achievements. As we all know, that our sir resigned from the West Bengal Judicial Service and started his teaching career with the desire to blend his profession with his passion of teaching. He is the founding faculty member of WBNUJS Kolkata. Currently, he is a visiting faculty of National Judicial Academy, Bhopal, as well as West Bengal. Currently, he is the head of the Department of Law section of Hooghly Mohsin College. He is the chief editor of Global Journal of Juridical Sciences, a peer reviewed referred journal. He has written so many books on law of limitation, drafting and pleading, law of adoption, intellectual property rights, company law, and so on. It will take a whole day if I will convey the entire list of his academic activities. Before going on to the next phase, I would like to welcome our mentor, our guru, and I would request him to convey the very sole purpose of conducting this interview. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sanjana. Thank you for your generous introduction. A very good morning, Vedatri. So, this episode of Meet My Gems will feature Vedatri Datta, who qualified NET JRF, and through the insightful questions of Sanjana, who herself is now pursuing LLM from the Symbiosis, the prestigious law school Symbiosis, Pune, and who is a graduate of West Bengal National University of Juridical Sciences. Through our insightful questions, she will help Vedatri reveal her secret of success, which will immensely benefit the aspirants of the UGC NET JRF examination. Sanjana, you may proceed now.
So, first of all, congratulations, ma'am, on this achievement. And could you please tell us little about yourself?
Hello everyone. I am Vedatri Datta. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sanjana, for the beautiful introduction. I would like to start by saying a huge thank you to Sir for giving me this opportunity of sharing my story with everyone. And to be counted as one of his gems is in itself a huge success for me. That goes without saying. So, yes, thank you. I did my schooling from till ICSE. I was in Dolna Day School, and for ISC I was in Mahadevi Birla Shishu Vihar, and currently I was working as an assistant professor in Kingston Law College. And for now, I am a faculty at Erudition Law. That's about it about
Oh,
myself.
wow, that's so great. So, I would like to ask you, ma'am, what was the reason behind choosing this teaching profession?
Actually, as a matter of fact, I did not choose the teaching profession. Instead, the teaching profession chose me. I belong to a family of school teachers. There are lovely ladies like my Dida, my mom Dida, my Pishi Dida, and other ladies who retired as school teachers and headmistresses. My mother also has a role to play in this. She wanted to complete her doctorate, which she could not do due to adverse circumstances. So yes, because of my passion, I think I was meant to be here, and I'm amongst one of those few fortunate people who love their job and are passionate about it and get a chance to make a living out of something that they really look forward to, right? And not goated into doing. And beside that, Sir Prem Sir has always been a huge inspiration and influence in this regard, I would say, because he's the role model of my life in this regard, in this teaching regard. And the germ of teaching, I think it has always been in me since as long as I can remember, because as a kid I remember I never used to sit and study at one place, in a like a proper setup, table, chair and everything. I used to roam around the house. I used to write on the walls and the doors and windows and everywhere, quite scary for my family members. So I did that. I used to pretend like I have a bunch of children sitting in front of me, and I am you know how it goes, like I'm teaching them the things that I learned in school or I've read somewhere. So yes, it has always been inside me. I think I am there where I was meant to be, I think. Yes.
Absolutely, ma'am. It reminds me of my childhood as well. I've been doing the same thing, writing on the
Right,
walls and
right,
everything.
right. Yes.
So, like we all see, like the aspirants of NET face a bit of difficulties in few specific areas of the examination. So, ma'am, what was your first-hand plan to grab the entire syllabus of NET?
Basically, the thing about the net syllabus is it's gigantic, especially the new syllabus where we find it's more detailed and more informed. There are 10 units, and in each one of the units, you'll get 10 topics, and there are innumerable subtopics under those topics, right? So it's like covering more than 100 subtopics, that also in a very short period of time, and not overview. We have to really get into it because we don't know, we can't assume that okay, here we'll get question from this area, this area is important. There is nothing like that in net, I believe. So my first hand plan, if I would have to state, it would be strategizing and planning well and distributing the time in an optimum manner, so that the areas that I'm weak in, a little more time, the areas that I'm comfortable with in practicing it to improve it even further. So planning well is very important, I think, to handle a syllabus of this size. I Another thing that I would like to add is I have always been a believer of honest hard work. That is true, but also I feel that if your hard work is not fueled by smart work, you do not really manage to reach the goal that you have set for yourself. That is why I constantly repeat it, even with my students, that planning well is very important. I hugely advise the aspirants to concentrate on clearing the basic doubts, clearing the basic concept, and also try to understand and analyze the topics rather than trying to memorize and wrote all at once. That doesn't help much. So yes, you have to plan well.
Absolutely. So, like in our first paper, we have teaching aptitude, research aptitude, communication. So, ma'am, how did you prepare yourself in those areas?
For the first paper, I think practice is the key. And it is, I was in the first lot after the, when I sat for my examinations, it was the first lot after the changed syllabus and also the online mode. So there were no ready books like guidebooks like you have, because that was the first time, and there was no syllabus or previous papers also for me to solve. But now I think you can always rely on the papers, on the previous year's papers. That helps practicing. Because why practicing, why I lay stress on practicing, is because the more you make your brain comfortable and familiar with these, these questions or these pattern of questions, the more it helps, for you to attempt at that time, when we are doing it, when we are attempting the questions. Other than that, I think I relied mostly on YouTube tutorials and free edu apps. Those
Okay.
really helped at me at that point. So yes, that would be it.
Like we all know, time management is a problem in all the exams. So the question of logical and mathematical reasoning, data interpretation, like we all know, it consumes a huge time. So what was your plan to tackle such issue?
As I have very commonly observed, since that is a huge part of it is mathematical, and many few people are really comfortable with mathematics as a subject. Here also, I would say practice is the key. As I said, the speed comes from the practice. Other than that, I think what I did was, you should not try to attempt the questions that you're not comfortable with in the first place. Go for the ones that you're very sure, very confident of, and it is there. One look at it and you know that yes, I will be able to answer it. That is important, because if you go for the tougher ones or the ones that are beyond your comfort zone, then what happens is there's a tendency to get discouraged and bogged down. There, the easier ones also suffer due to that. So yes, that I would say that is how I managed this time consuming portion.
So practice, we all need to practice a
Practice.
lot.
Practice is important. Yes.
So, like, there's a subjective part in the examination. So, there are more than
Yes.
like 15 subjects in NET,
Yes. Yes. More
approximately.
than that. Yeah.
So, it ranges from jurisprudence, criminal law, and IPR and everything. So, give
Constitution. Yeah.
us, yeah, constitution, cybercrime.
Hmm.
So, give us some ideas or tips, ma'am, through which all the aspirants can manage to memorize the difficult provisions, because all the subjects have
Yeah.
so many provisions.
I would again repeat myself here. Planning, that's the thing. Memorizing blindly, without understanding, I don't think that helps in the long run. That is not a sustainable preparation, I feel. And I personally don't believe in exuberantly long hours of study. I never did that. I never pressurized my brain to overwork, to do something beyond my capacity or capability. Try to love the subjects, try to love what you're preparing, try to love studying, and don't think of it as a burden. This really helps to ease out things for you a bit, I think, to quite an extent, not a bit. And as far as the subjects are concerned, as you said, Sanjana, the topics, if you would see that they are well within the LLB curriculum, they are not beyond. So, if you, for the aspirants who are still in college, I would say take your semester studies seriously. Take them, don't go for an exam oriented study. Try to learn the subject, try to learn the topics. I think that helps in the long run when you're ultimately preparing for the NET or any other competitive exams for that matter. So, yes, that is important.
So we have topics like global justice, dimensions of living relationship. So these unconventional topics are not mentioned in any law book. So what is your suggestion to tackle such topic?
Yes, as I said, they were introduced for the first time when I was appearing for the exam, and I would really like to state that I was happy. It was very refreshing to see such unconventional topics being included, because they were beyond our LLB or LLM curriculum, and it was a little refreshing. I would say I was happy to see this unconventional topics, and it was I personally thought that okay, I'll get something new to do, new to work on, not the same things that I have been doing in college or my post grad level. I relied on the internet once again. I referred to many scholarly articles that are easily available these days. And for the family law portion in India, like the foreign degrees and also the live in relationship, I think I tried to follow the Indian case laws on this, the current ones, 2 years, 3 years. And reading the newspaper also helped, because these are practically relevant topics that were introduced. So that is how I mostly internet, I would say.
Correct. So now we are in a digital world. So we all know that last 2 year examinations are conducted by online mode.
Online, yes.
Yeah, so your suggestion from your part to enhance the skill to cope up this issue?
See, youngsters these days are pretty much technology accustomed, I would say. They are used to online modes. I don't think there is any special skill that is required for sitting for an online examination. It's just that you should follow the instructions very carefully. They give basic instructions, and don't hesitate to ask if you have not understood anything. At least the center that I went to, they gave out very clear and basic instructions at every stage. So be alert, be a little careful, try to double check all the processes that are involved in the examination. Ask the authority if you face any problem. I think that helps. Other than that, there's no special skill that is required, I feel.
Okay. So do you think, ma'am, that a proper guidance can help to achieve the desired success, like in this examination?
Absolutely, guidance is very important. I had Prem sir to guide me. But that was only after postgrad level when I got his guidance really. But I still wish that I would have got it earlier. Then I would have really be excelled then earlier. But here, yes, guidance is very important because Prem sir's guidance made a huge difference, significant difference in the way I study or I treated law as a subject. As a mentor, Prem sir instilled into me that love for the subject, and for I think that helped me a lot in the long run. So it is very important, and that is why I also am currently trying or planning to institutionalize this net preparation for aspiring students, currently being involved with erudition law with, of course, sir's blessing. It is very important. I think here I am trying to make the students get used to concept driven studying and concept driven learning, and not the memorizing and rote learning that students these days are used to. So yes,
Yeah,
guidance is
they
very
memorize.
important. They
They only
memorize for the
memorize.
examine. Yes,
That's all.
absolutely, for the examinations, but that is not sustainable, as I always repeat. That is not something that will help you in the long run. For competitors, you cannot blindly, there's so much. How much will you memorize? Not possible. You have
Ma'am,
to
like you
get
told, like
right.
love for the subject is very important.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
there, that thing has to be there. That love for
Absolutely.
that subject, that book. So that is important.
Yes, very
So, ma'am, apart from studies, like what are your extracurricular activities? Like what do you do like when you're very tired or
yeah.
your mind is fully jagged with books and everything?
As this about me, I have a very detailed and prominent co-curriculum beyond the professional life that I have. I am an international Bharatanatyam dancer, classical dancer from a very, yeah, I love dancing. Then I'm also a street animal activist. So you see, I have to devote certain amount of time to, though not very significant, but certain amount of time I definitely have to devote to those. And quite contrary to the popular belief that there will always be a clash between a hobby and your
Yeah,
work
work.
studies, and people leave everything when they're, I don't believe it. That's a personal view of mine, because I feel that it is more useful if you have a productive and constructive hobby rather than spending your time on the social media, because that's get addictive, and we end up, it invariably, it will happen, it happens with me also, that you end up spending more time that you mean to, right? You think that okay, I'll just check a little, but that doesn't happen. You keep on
That goes
scrolling.
on for 1 hour.
It goes on for more than 1 hour, and god knows when it stops. It's very addictive. So I think it's better to have a hobby that will help you there. I would say time management for me, it's not a choice. It's the only choice that I have. It's not an option. It's the only choice that I have if I want to do anything. Because I don't think it is wrong to, want two things at the same time. It is okay. If you really want to do it, do it. Don't deprive
Yeah.
yourself. That is how I have taken this thing. That is how I balance between the two.
That's like really nice to hear that you're a pet lover,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
dancer,
No, I'm not a pet lover. I'm not a pet lover. I'm an animal lover. I don't
animal
only love
lover.
the
Okay.
ones in my house. Yeah, I am a universal animal lover.
Universal. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So thank you, ma'am. Now I would request our sir to say a few words. Sir,
So, anyways, thank you for having me, Sanjana. Very nicely, sir is here.
Thank you so much. So that was a very sweet and short interaction between two beautiful ladies,
Thank
and
you.
that revealed the success story of one of my brightest gems, Vedatri Datta. Vedatri, apart from her career in studies and being an excellent potential good law teacher, she has certain qualities which attract me a lot towards her, you know. And one of them is her compassion for living beings, animals.
Yes, sir,
See, when
absolutely.
she told for the first time that she is not only, there are plenty of people who declare themselves animal lovers, but she lives what she says. You'll be amazed to know she is a vegan. Number one. Number two, she's not only she qualify NET JRF, but she also qualified judicial service. For a few marks, she missed the bus. That doesn't matter. You know, there's hardly any difference between the last person who got through and the very next person. So Vedatri is, we heard just now, she is trying to institutionalize that skill, and she had sessions with me also. My prayers and blessings are always with her, and I will always try and contribute my bit for that also. So please go ahead with that three. I am with you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So
Thank you so much.
Chandana, you very nicely and very clearly asked the questions with a lot of clarity. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your the thoughts which you invested in making this interview a very interesting one. I'm sure the aspirants will immensely benefit from today's interaction.
Absolutely, sir.
Chandana, you may now end the program. Okay, Vedatri wants to say something. Do you have anything to say,
No, sir,
Vedatri?
just thank you for having me. I'm really blessed to be here right now. Thank you. That's all I.
Thank you, Vedatri. Thank you, Sanjana, once more. Now,
Thank you, sir.
you may end the
Yes,
program
sir.
with a vote of thanks.
So, this insightful interactive part comes to an end, and I hope this session will definitely improve the cognitive faculty of all the aspirants. Thank you very much, sir, madam, for sharing your thoughts and giving your precious time. And lastly, thanks to all the viewers for their patient hearing. Thank you so much.